My candy. Sahana vavatu, sahano bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururagmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Gukarastvandakaro Vai Rukarasthannivartakaha Andhakara Nirodhitvad Gururitya Vidiyate. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Namo Bhagavate Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Mrityave Brahma Vidyacharyaya Nachiketasya Let us recite verse 12 on your page 7. Esha sarveshu bhuteshu gudhotmana prakashate drishyate tvagraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshivihi. The good news is Sarveshu Bhuteshu Atma Guraha. In all the beings, Atma, the self, the all-pervasive and non-dual. Vedanta emphasizes, or rather not emphasizes, but draws our attention to non-duality. This non-duality is very important because then only there can be limitlessness. When there is just one, not being limited by anything, then alone limitlessness can be there. If there are two entities enjoying the same status or same degree of reality, then one does not admit the other one does not admit this one, because both of them enjoy the same degree of reality. So Vedanta's primary revelation is that the truth is one, and truth cannot be two. This is also truth. I am here, there is also truth. I am not here, also is truth. I mean, truth cannot be two. Truth has to be one, and it should not change. What I say is one thing here, outside something else, to you something. If truth changes in time and place and situation, the Swami is lying. You will say it's not truth. So that is called truth even in our day-to-day life, which is consistent at all the times, at all places, and all conditions. Not that in front of you I say something because of some pressure, and elsewhere I say something because of another pressure. So truth is one. Similarly, Ishvara, God is one. But the most important message of Vedanta is not only truth is one, it is non-dual. What is non-dual is that there is nothing but truth. There is nothing other than truth. There is no duality, meaning there is nothing that is false that stands in opposition to truth. Truth, Satyam, Jnanavantam, Brahma, Brahman or God is called Satyam, truth, Jnanam, knowledge, consciousness, Anantam, limitless. But Ekameva, one without a second. So non-dual means that there is nothing that stands apart from truth, nothing that... So, all there is truth. So Ekam, truth is one. Advidiyam, non-dual, what there is truth. There is nothing that is false that stands in opposition to truth. That kind of truth this is. This is a truth that can accommodate true and false both. This truth is not threatened by false. Tyaja dharmam adharmam cha, ube satyan nrute tyaja. Ube satyan nrute tyaktva yena tyajasi tat tyaja. Tyaja dharmam adharmam cha, may you give up dharma and adharma. Dharma means righteousness, adharma is unrighteousness. Give up both. But first give up adharma. By accepting dharma or by being devoted to dharma, may you overcome adharma. But then a time should come when you should also grow out of dharma. Grow out of righteousness also. Ube satyan nrute tyaja. Give up means grow out of or rise above both satyam and anutam, truth and untruth. We of course grow out of untruth by first of all identifying the truth, but says even then also you should grow out. So the truth that we are talking about, there are two kinds of truth. A truth that is opposed to false, which is the truth that we know. That's what we call the Vyavaharika Satyam, or the day-to-day life. Truth is that which is opposed to false. But the truth that the Upanishads talk about is not opposed to false. It accommodates false also. If God is opposed to Satan, where Satan is, God is not, where God is, Satan is not, then there are two things opposing each other. But we are talking about God that also accommodates Satan. You mean, Swami, truth is not opposed to, this truth is not opposed to false. There is one truth that is opposed to false, the other truth that is not opposed to false. There is one knowledge that is opposed to ignorance, There is other knowledge not opposed to ignorance. Can there be knowledge not opposed to ignorance? Anyway, so, yes, there is something called, that's why Vedanta of Satyam and Mithya. Satyam, absolute truth. Mithya means relatively true, not absolutely true. So, what we are encountering, what we are functioning is the world of relativity. Mithya means relativity. Here everything is relative. Truth is relative to false, meaning the truth is opposed to false. Where? In the level of Vyavahara, in the level of this Vyavaharik Satta. But Paramahantik Satta, absolute truth, is that which is unopposed to anything. Just as a rope is not opposed to snake. Which snake? Rope snake, yeah? Because people think that every snake is rope snake, every snake is not rope snake. There can be a real snake also in this property. So we keep on hearing rope snake, so he's saying rope snake. No, not necessarily. But how the rope is not opposed to the rope snake? Because the poison of the snake does not in any way affect the rope. The mithya does not affect the satyam. Mithya is not opposed to satyam. Satyam is not opposed to mithya. For example, when I stand in front of a mirror, I see a reflection, there is also a Swami. There are two Swamis. Can there be two Swamis? Yes and no. Two when? One is real, other is unreal. One is satyam, other is mithya. Satyam is not opposed to mithya. The real Swami is not opposed to reflection. Reflection can be any number, depending on how many mirrors are there. Reflection can be very funny looking also, depending upon mirrors. Concave mirror will show me one way, convex mirror will show me different way. But I am not alarmed looking at that. Why? Because I know it's mithya. I can laugh at that. Because mithya, satyam is not opposed to mithya. So absolute truth is not opposed to vyavahara. What we call truth opposed to false, both are at the same degree of reality, called the vyavahara or relative reality or mithya. And the other truth is called satyam. Absolute truth is not opposed to vyavaharik satyam or mithya. Absolute is not opposed to mithya or vyavahara. So when they say that you should even grow out of satyam, is vyavaharik satyam, then only we can reach the paramahantik satyam. Because when we even follow dharma, what is dharma? Dharma that is opposed to dharma. So when I follow righteousness, in me there is always the idea that I'm doing something and I'm not doing that. That fellow is adharmi, I'm dharma. You follow? When I speak truth, then I look down on other fellows, holier than thou. You fellows are all liars. So dharma also is opposed to adharma, therefore dharma also is limited, being opposed to adharma. Dharma also is a sense of individuality, that I am a dharmi, I am a performer of righteousness, etc. And therefore I should even grow out of that. Dharma also, dharma, meaning that sense of individuality, that I am a performer of dharma, that notion also should not remain in me, that I am a righteous person. That also is limited. Because the one who is righteous is not unrighteous. So in the knowledge of the self, I am a righteous person, I am a truthful person, even that notion also does not remain. That is what is meant by saying that you grow out of righteous or everything. That's called non-dual, unopposed to anything, accommodating everything. It's so great that this so little thing they don't bother him at all. They say when the elephant is going, the dogs start being barked. It doesn't matter to elephant. So nothing matters to Satyam, the absolute, what the Vyavahara is. So this non-duality is very important. As long as I am in relative truth, there is duality because that truth is opposed to false. So first it is necessary to follow the truth or live up to that truth opposed to false. But then I should grow to a point that I am not opposed to false also. We are so large-hearted that you can accommodate false also. Adveshta, so vice versa, Adveshta, Sarvabhutanam, there is no Dvesha, no hatred for anybody. But this fellow is a crook. Somehow the Dvesha does not arise in his mind. Because he has transcended both Dvesha and Advesha. He has transcended the pairs of opposites. I will hate people who are unrighteous because I am wedded to righteousness. Now that is pairs of opposites. One thing opposed to the other. As long as there is one opposed to the other, so long I have an individuality, a limitedness. I don't include everybody, don't include others. A righteous person has certain pride, does not include unrighteous people. I don't do this. You don't do that. Say that. You know which family I was born in? You know what kind of upbringing I have? We don't do that. We don't touch it. We don't eat it. So you look down upon others. From that also, when will I not look down upon others? When I realize that others are all right as they are, regardless of how they appear. So this is what Vedanta invites us to do. That all opposition goes away, all dvesha goes away, all hatred and aversion goes away. Then only there is freedom. Because if I identify myself as a righteous person who is naturally opposed to unrighteousness, then a certain amount of dvesha remains in me for unrighteous. When I am identified or look upon myself as an honest person, then there is some opposition to dishonest. So we are invited to rise to a point where dishonest also is okay. Honest is of course okay, dishonest is okay. You become so compassionate that that also does not create in you any kind of a reaction. So Vedanta teaches this is all practical use of non-duality, by the way. Non-duality is not only truth is one, but what is his truth? That's called non-duality. Meaning there is both the relative satyam or true and false, both of them are included in the absolute truth. Because both are mithya, appearances, not real. This is ourself. That's what we are. Na prakashate. So this is good news. Good news is that sarveshu bhuteshu guna atma, the self that is hidden in me is like this. One, non-dual, unopposed, all accommodating. So this is something that will be more appealing to us. Well, one non-dual is all right, but all accommodating. Unopposed to anything. Accommodating everything. That is my true nature. Unfortunately, that self doesn't shine in my mind that way. It shines quite contrary to what it is, and therefore I entertain all these kind of conclusions and notions or opinions about myself, which are quite in opposition to what I truly am. So thus, first is recognition that there is ignorance in our life. Atma is not hidden from me because I know myself that I am. But the Vishesha, that I am non-dual, that is hidden from me. That I am whole and complete, that aspect, that is what has to be known. That I am is already known. But that I am limitless, it has to be known. So, na prakashate, self does not reveal mean that the specific aspect of limitlessness, non-duality is not evident to me. Then drishyate, we have to see it. So problem is one of ignorance or wrong, false perception, and therefore we have to change our perception. That's all that Vedanta does. Gives us the true perception about everything. We think there are three entities in our life: Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara, individual, universe, and God. Right now there are three entities. Therefore Vedanta addresses each one of them and shows that there are no three, there is one. So right now I think there are three. So Vedanta gives me the equation, Tattvamasi, that thou art. That stands for God, whom I think is different from me. Thou stands for I, who I think is limited. I see that both are one. So this one sentence shows the oneness of everything. That what I consider to be separate from me, there is no separation with God. What I consider limited, the self, there is no limitedness in the self. This is how one is to see oneself. Is it possible? It is possible. Thank God that it is possible to know myself as I truly am, even though right now I know myself wrongly, but yes, it is possible to know myself truly. But Swamiji, you said self is limitless. How can with a limited mind I can see limitless self? Self is limitless. My mind is so insignificant. How can I see limitless self in a limited mind? You cannot. If self was to be seen, it can never happen. It can never work out. Thank God self doesn't have to be seen because it's already seen. So what has to go is not that I have to know an unknown Atma, I have to rightly know an unrightly known Atma. The self is known, but the self that is wrongly known right now has to be correctly known, meaning wrongness in my knowledge alone has to be removed. You follow? If I did not know the self at all, if self was not in my radar at all, meaning I never knew, never experienced, what do you mean by self? Then I would never know. If Atma, limitless, was different, this question, how can I know the limitless self, the limited mind? This question would arise if that limitless was different from me. Because whenever we think of knowledge, we always think of knowledge involving the duality of subject and object, meaning that object of knowledge is always assumed to be different from me, or I am different from that. So if I have to know the limitless, I am the knower, and limitless is the object of knowledge, and knowledge takes place through mind. So how can the limited mind, I know the limitless? It's true. Thank God that limitless is not separate from me. I don't have to objectify it. I have to recognize that what I am, it's a recognition that what I am is limitless. So right now I see myself as limited. How? It is my experience that I am limited. It is not your experience. No, is it not our experience that we are limited? Is it not our experience that all there is duality? Vedanta says no. It is not your experience that you are limited. It is your interpretation that you are limited. Really? How? Because you are mixing up the two things. Two things that are in different locations. Subject is in one location, object is in a different location. So imagine that this is part, this is the best thing that we got so far we get. That this is a part. This is the object of knowledge. This is object, this knower is subject. In every knowledge, the object-subject duality is there. But one thing is, subject is subject, object is object. Subject is in one location, object is in a different location. Not only in space, also in grammar also. Subject enjoys which case? In nominative case. object enjoys the objective case. The case means the locations are different. Locuses are different. They are not in one locus. But what I do is, this is the amazing feat that I have, is I combine the object and subject, which are uncombinable. They are in different locations, therefore you can't have, but I bring them in one locus. So I say that I am a man. And I say that, I've accomplished that feat. What is man? Man is this human, the body. That is object. I am is subject. I am a man. So what I have done? The subject and object are all combined by me. So when I declare myself to a man, woman, X, Y, Z, whatever, it is simply my interpretation of what my experience is. I am experiencing I am and I am experiencing man. I am experiencing both. But I do not realize that the two are in different locuses, that I am belongs to subject and the man belongs to object. And subject is always different from the object. I do not realize that fact and I lump them together. You see what is happening? It is not that ignorance has really veiled my it can't do that. What ignorance does is, it creates this aviveka, non-discrimination. Therefore, I do not realize that this man, woman, tall, short, good, bad, happy, unhappy, all of them belong to object. What is the object? The body is the object. The gross and subtle body, that means mind and body, are objects. Isn't it so? Am I not aware of the body? Am I not aware of the mind? I am. And the aware is always different from what is aware of. Subject is always different from object. But this is a great thing I do. That I make them one. And I say, I am a human being. I am a man, woman. The moment something is added into I am, you are gone. The moment I am is joined with, something is joined with I am, that poor I am becomes little. I am has no dimension. See, I am as such doesn't have any height, weight, form. I am is formless. When you add man, woman, then the form comes. But I am by itself has no form. That is the reason why it can join with any form. A crystal doesn't have a color of its own, then anything you place, then crystal assumes that color. If water doesn't have any form, then you can pour in whichever a vessel you pour, it assumes that form, which is no form of its own. In Kathopanishad, the example later given is Agni Rathayikam Bhonam Pravishta, Ekaha Bhonam Pravishta. Fire is one. It enters different combustible pieces, like coal pieces, round and triangle, and you must have seen in a furnace. And one fire as though becomes many. Fire has no form of its own, looks like it assumes so many forms. That seems to be the characteristic of what? One that does not possess any qualification is very easy, you can transfer any qualification upon that. Atma is a sitting duck. Our Swami used to say, Swami is a sitting duck. For what? Transference. Perhaps you know what transference is. Transference is that I see something with eyes, but I see something else in my mind. What I see here now is a woman, who may be a friend, who may be anything. In my mind I see my sister. And whatever kind of feelings I have for my sister, all of them happen here. If I love my sister, well and good, but if I'm fighting with my sister, then same thing happens here. I start fighting with this person. This happens among spouses, let alone anybody else. Anyway, so the thing is transference, you call it, or superimposition in Vedanta. What belongs to one is seen elsewhere. And so that man, etc., which belongs to the body, is seen in the Atma, and therefore, by combining I have this notion, I am a human being. A human being belongs to non-self. I am belongs to self. I am doesn't have a form, doesn't have any characteristics, and therefore it can take any characteristic. Just as fire doesn't have a form, therefore it can assume any form of any combustible, so also Atma, the self, consciousness, which is formless, without attributes, can assume as though any attribute. So this is what I am doing because of ignorance. Combining the object and subject, which are not combinable. Again, going to a pot space. I am joining, when I say pot space, you know what I have done? The pot and space have been joined into one, because pot space is a concept, wherein the space is confined to the pot. So what has happened in my mind is, the pot, the enclosure and space have been joined, and there is a notion in my mind, there is a limited space called pot space. In fact, the pot and space has no related connection at all. Space pervades the pot. Space transcends the pot. So pot cannot confine the space. But in my mind I do that. So this body cannot really join with consciousness, but I join them. Thus I have so many notions. So then what I need to do is to separate the thing. The anatma part is to be separated, then I am is always there. So in every knowledge I have about myself, the I am always is involved. Whether I am happy, unhappy, good, bad, indifferent, the knowledge of I am is always there. That good, bad, indifferent part I have to realize that doesn't belong to I am, belongs to this non-I. You follow? It's called viveka. That is called separation. Separating the self from the non-self. Easy, isn't it? I can see the body, I am the subject, body is the object, I am the subject, mind is the object. What's the big deal? Don't combine them. But even after doing this, it doesn't happen. Why? So says, second line, Drishyatetu agraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshivih. Number one, good news is that we don't have to see the limitless self, because we would never be able to. The seeing the limitless self, that occasion would arise if limitless self was different from me. Then I won't even care. If self is different from me, limitless, what does it matter to me? It doesn't matter. If God is limitless, let Him be. You know what matters to us? All that matters in our life is ourself. If somebody is limitless, let it be. I'll worship him. But I remain what I am. What I am interested in, I should be limitless. Because the limitedness is what I'm uncomfortable with. Limitedness about I is my problem, not limitedness is a problem. Body is limited, let it be. Body is dying, is going to die, let it be. If I was clear that body, I am separate from body, what happens to body would not matter to me. Things start mattering to me when I combine I with them. And that is the great thing I do. So body that dies, I am dying. The mind is upset, I am upset. So what we need to do is to separate that I from non-I. It is separate, but I have joined them, understand? If it is joined by itself, then we can't even separate it. But it is separate, but I have in my mind I have joined. So in my mind I have to separate them. So what the mind has to do is undo what it has done. You know what the mind has done? Mind has thus joined the Atma with Anatma. And therefore in the mind, the disjoining has to happen. That's what the mind has to do. That it can do. If the mind had to objectify limitless and consciousness, etc., people keep struggling for the whole of their life. I'm trying to realize Atma, and I'm meditating on Atma and consciousness and all pervasive and stuff like that, So you create some other kind of complexes. Or you see the light, red light, and then you realize the Atma. All kinds of notion concepts are given to us. And then, so there are many realized people. depending on what you think is realization. And fine, as long as they're happy, we have no first problem with anybody, or anything or anybody personally. X Foundation, Y Foundation, Z, everybody is fine. But as I said, Vedanta gives us a clarity that I would doubt if you can find anywhere else. Because nobody else has clarity. Everybody is struggling to do something, to realize something, experience something outside. And they do also. You get experiences and you realize, you see lights and all kinds of things do happen. Not that they don't happen. Not that is, it's nice also, gives you very nice sensation and feeling and experience. It's all good. But not enough. So Vedanta is not opposed to anybody. Kathopanishad says in Mandoke Karika. Swasiddhanta Vyavasthasu. All the Dvaitina, all dualists, those who look upon what I have to realize is something different. I have to realize something, that I must become realizer and realize something. Meaning that I already created duality between myself and what I have to realize. So Swasiddhanta Vyavasthasu. Everybody fights with the other, because when there is duality, then one duality is opposed to other duality. Vedanta doesn't fight with anybody, because non-dual is not opposed to anything. Follow? When people go to, there are 6 blind men go to examine an elephant, and they come with different conclusions. An elephant is like a pillar. And somebody says elephant is like a wall. Somebody says elephant is like a ladder. It's like a rope. And then there is a seminar of elephants. Each one comes and presents a paper, what the elephant is. And each one dismisses the other. Hey, I am telling you it is pillar. That was, no, it's a rope. No, it's a wall. But the sighted person who has seen the whole elephant is not opposed. He knows where they are all coming from. What makes them say what they say? As long as you know, you're fine. But what Vedanta teaches us, not what Vedanta teaches us, is the teaching that I do not think you can find anywhere. Only that one non-dual. This is what Vedanta is. And therefore in the mind we have committed this wonderful thing of combining the two things, self and non-self. So in the mind you have to separate them. Well, that's what mind has to do. You understand? Not that mind has to visualize like limitlessness. No. Because already you are limitless. Upon that you joined a limited thing. So then you recognize limited as limited, belonging to body. That yes, there is birth and death, belongs to body. There is pleasure and pain, belongs to mind. When you settle that account properly, then who am I? I am. That's all I am. What is that I am? Has no dimension. Has no boundary. I am is boundless. It's ananta. And boundless means what? It's all inclusive. Meaning there is nothing that stands opposed to that. It's non-dual. So then with the help of teaching, then I see what I am experiencing, I recognize what it is that the self is. So Drishyade, second line says that it is possible to see the self. Because it is myself. Because I am already seeing it. It is not that unseen self has to be seen, because that also can't be done. If you have never seen the self, and never known it, and never experienced it, then it doesn't even matter to you. You follow? The reason why the self matters to us is because we are conscious of it. See, one simple principle that Vedanta teaches is that superimposition or wrong notion or mistake or error can only happen if you are conscious of something. Meaning that the rope snake will be seen only if you have become conscious of rope. inadequate life, I see that object, so I am conscious of that object. If I did not become conscious of that object, I would never have seen it as a snake or anything. If it was darkness and I did not become conscious of the object lying there, there would be no rope snake, isn't it? In this inadequate light, I become conscious of that, but doesn't recognize it. That is when the superimposition happens. So I am conscious of the self. I am, always shining in my heart as I am. Is it not so? Yeah. So that is where it becomes a sitting duck for superimposition. So we superimpose upon that all things about body and mind, everything we superimpose and then come up with these notions, I am so and so. So this superimposition is what is to be done. So ignorance manifests in our life as the superimposition, lumping together of two things, and what we need to do is to separate. That's called viveka. Atma, anatma, viveka. Viveka means separation. Separating Atma from Anatma. But that separation, not separating rice from wheat or something like that. Because the lumping has taken place in my mind, and where the lumping has taken place, that is where the separation should take place. So Vedanta teaches us what is the nature of the self. Hey Arjuna, body is non-self. Body is not you. Really, I am not the body? No, because you are the observer, you are the witness, and body is something that is known to you. In this manner, Vedanta, step by step, Annamaya, Kosha, Pranamaya, all step by step, different, So either body and then prana and then mind and intellect, etc. One by one, I see that I am not them. Or sometimes waker, dreamer, these people are gross, subtle, causal, different ways of this viveka or atmanatma viveka is done. These are called prakriyas. So different methods are employed by different Upanishads and by different teachers. But what is to be done is separating the self from the non-self. Recognizing non-self as non-self, so that I recognize the self as the self. Trushyate, it can be seen, it can be known. But Swami, you are telling and still I don't see it. So, agriya buddhya, sukshmaya buddhya, sukshmadarshivihi. We have to bring about a transformation in our mind. That is true. The mind is always looking out there. Swami, where is Atma? Where is that thing? I am always ready to experience. So I am oriented to experience something, feel something, see something, know something. Even that has to go. That I have to see something other than myself? No. The eye doesn't have to be seen. I am. So seeing all the efforts has to be given up. That later on we'll see. But then when I'm convinced totally that limitlessness is my nature, then I don't have to see it. I don't have to become limitless. So first of all, give up all attempts to become limitless. Become anything. What is becoming? Becoming is that means that I'm right now denying what I am and I want to be something else. So self-denial is involved. That stop denying yourself. You don't have to become anything. Just enjoy yourself as you are. How can I enjoy myself? Swami, there is pain and aches and pains in the body and this and all kinds of sin happening in my life. How can I enjoy? So we have to cultivate a mind which is able to enjoy what is. So we need a given kind of a mind to be able to appreciate what we are. To appreciate, I don't have to become limitless, I am limitless. And that limitless self is shining all the time. I am experiencing it. I have just to recognize that fact. So that requires a certain kind of a mind, which is inward looking, which all extrovertedness is gone. That mind has no more now any kind of anxiety of becoming something, achieving something, acquiring something. Because all of that presupposes that what I am seeking is different from me. But what I am seeking is myself, where is the question of achieving anything? If what I am seeking is myself, where is the question of becoming? The 10th man doesn't have to become 10th man, doesn't have to achieve 10th man, he should stop doing that. As long as the fellow is searching for the 10th man, so long he is denying. The very search also is denial of myself, is it not so? So unless I deny the fact that I am 10th man, I cannot be searching for 10th man. So stop self-denial, self-acceptance. A mind that enjoys self-acceptance, that is comfortable with itself, that likes itself, that loves itself. How can I love this body, Swami? He has so many limitations. How can I love his mind? Whatever it is limited. Just because limited doesn't mean you cannot love. Is that a rule? I can't accept because it's limited. No. Limited is limited. I mean, everything is limited. I enjoy this rose. It is only 27 petals, not 54. So what shall we do? It's only one color, it doesn't change the colors. Saying the same color, what is this? If I place condition upon that, then I can't enjoy it. If I make demands upon something, that means that I don't accept it as it is. Then of course I cannot enjoy it. To enjoy something, first is we accept it as it is. Wait the freedom to be what it is. Then you can enjoy it. No, I don't like this rose color. I like yellow color. I like this color. Thank you. All right. So, thus, first thing that we have to do in our life is to be able to be comfortable with ourselves, like ourselves, hopefully love ourselves as we are. And we are limited, there is no question about it. Regardless of what I do, I remain limited. I can become stronger than I am, still limited. Become wealthier than I am, still limited. Become more powerful than I am, still limited. So regardless of whatever you add in limited, it's still going to multiply, also it remains limited, isn't it? Any limited number you multiply, it becomes larger number, still limited. And so, recognizing this, I stop being limitless. And I honor the limited that I am, to begin with. To even say that I am not the body, number one, I must develop comfort with the body. If I am fighting with the body will not cooperate with me, it will stick to me. Will not allow me to create that distance. We need to create a distance. When can I create distance? When I am comfortable with it. So I need cooperation of the body, I need cooperation of the mind, I need cooperation of my personality. Dhatu prasadan mahimanam atmanah. Prasada, prasannata, favorableness. My own self should become favorable to me. Right now that is my enemy. Atmaya hyatmano bandhu. Atmaya ripu atmanah. Lord Krishna says yourself can become your friend, benefactor. Your own self can become your enemy. I must make it my benefactor. So, the body, the mind, the whole thing cooperates with me. Doesn't fight with me. Does what I want them to do. Right now I tell the mind to look that way, it wants to look some other way. I want the mind to chant this and it wants to do something else. When I'm watching TV, that time it wants to repeat Ram Rama. When I'm Ram Rama, he wants to watch TV, he wants something else. So this is called Antahakana Shuddhi. We have talked about millions of times, purification of mind. As these raga dveshas, impurities go away, are removed from the mind. Mind becomes more and more pleased with itself. Because to know myself, I must be pleased with myself. I cannot know myself when I am opposed to myself or fighting with myself. Not possible. When I am fighting with somebody, it won't reveal itself to me, isn't it? It won't. Even if it reveals, it will be something else, not what it is. So stop all fighting, no internal fighting.
What is it?
I'm not doing something, am I? Whenever noises come, then they always look at me, what am I doing? We have these headphone microphones, and so sometimes it doesn't quite fit, and there's a shaven head, so when I turn around, that thing's and then it creates all kinds of noises. But right now that's not the case, it's there, and that thing is there. And they were establishing peace within being at peace with myself. So what is meant by Antakarana Shuddhi? What is meant by purity of mind is when I am at peace with myself, when I am happy with myself, when I am accepting of myself. Then I can create distance with the body. And I can say, I am not the body. Otherwise, even if I say, it is just lip service. But when can I see the fact that I am not the body? When the body is not a problem to me. When it cooperates with me. When I accept it as it is, with its limitations, virtues, limitations, vulnerability, it is fine as it is. The mind is fine as it is. Everything is fine as it is. I am fine as I am. No, but Swamiji, I didn't get a job. You are fine. I am not a millionaire. You are still fine. My son doesn't talk to me. You are still fine. Millions of things are there. You are still fine. Because you are limitless, basically remind, that I don't need anything like that to really make me fine. I am fine as I am. So in this manner, when this harmony is established, so that's called sukshmata. That's called sukshmata, or subtleness of the mind, or purity of the mind. So second line says that we require mind, agraya buddhya. Agra means that single pointed. Sukshmaya, which is the subtlety, which is the purity. So basically what we need is the Antakarana Shuddhi, Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Ekagrata. Purity of the mind and the focus of the mind. They all come. As these ragadvesha, as this go away, as basically my priorities become clear, as I become very clear, as the first thing that should become clear to me and should reflect in whatever I do in my life is that it is accomplishment of what is already accomplished, meaning that I don't have to become something. I don't need to achieve something. I don't need to become something. Because I am already what I want to achieve, I already what I want to become. Then mind will stop running out, because when becoming comes, it goes someplace, because that's what I have to become, that's what I have to achieve, that's what I have to get. Then the mind always runs out. No becoming, no achieving, no getting. Where will the mind go? Stays with self. So that is how ekagrata and sukshmata. Ekagrata means the focus of the mind. Sukshmata, the subtlety of the mind, which is what we call the Antakarana Shuddhi, purity of mind, meaning of making mind free from the ragadvesas. Or in the 16th chapter, we talked about the demoniac tendencies or impulses, making mind free from that. For that karma yoga, dhyana yoga, all these things are taught to us. Upasana, bhakti, worship of the Lord. Sukshmadarshi. So, all we need is to work with our mind to make the mind a fit instrument, to just see the fact that right now that very mind is denying what I am. That same mind stops denying and sees the fact that I am limitless. Mind can see. The mind that denies can also see. Mind denies when it is in conflict. It sees when all conflicts are gone. So, this is what we have to do, is to make the mind, as the second line says, agraya buddhya, sukshmaya buddhya. Mind becomes sukshma and ekagra, becomes subtle, pure and single-minded. All sadhana is for that purpose. And all this done at the mind level, emotional level. Then what we know in intellect will become reality. Otherwise, what we understand our intellect remains there, doesn't become a reality. It is when the mind cooperates, then that becomes reality. Even there is harmony between my understanding and my emotions. So Atma can be known. It is already known. What is incorrectly known has to be correctly known. By realizing that these are all anatma, by being able to separate that and seeing the Atma for what it is. That mind can do, don't worry. How can I see Atma and limit? Don't bother about it. Do what is to be done. What is to be done? Make the mind worthy. Before surgeries, are you surgeon? What is it? Surgery worthy. Similarly, seeing worthy, our mind can become. That's what we have to do. So for that, everything is given to us also. The chariot is given to us, horses are given to us, everything is given to us, and therefore drive a chariot well, make right choices. We need to make right choices. Overcome temptations, overcome impulses. There must be conviction. This conviction that I am already what I am seeking to be. That's the basic conviction. And we try to assert that conviction in everything, then the mind cannot justify anything. Mind, I want this, it cannot justify. Hey, you already are what you want. I have to fight with this, but already you are one, and that is all included in you. You are the self of that also. The mind cannot justify anything. Moment we bring this into the, moment mind comes up with some expectation, desire, demand, we bring this. Attainment of what is already attained. You are already what you want to be. You are already achieved what you want. So don't worry, calm down. Relax. Don't run around. So mind has to be educated. Because the orientation is attaining what is not. Becoming what I am not. That's the orientation. So to change that orientation takes time. By constantly educating the mind. And then also creating condition for the mind, therefore attitudes, values, karma yoga, bhakti. They're all the means to be able to cultivate that mind. And it's not that someday mind will see. As the mind gets this qualification, it starts seeing, by the way. It gets assurance, what they say is right. I can see that I'm happy with myself. As you experience happiness with yourself, this becomes more real to us. So it's not that someday some kind of a bliss happens and now I see. It's a process. You keep on seeing. You keep on. So freedom also is a process and moksha is a process. It's not a one-shot deal. You become liberated every step. And as you see that, then you are encouraged that that's the right process, I'm the right path. So freedom, happiness, all of this comes step by step. So we get assurance that yes, what they say is right. Yes, so Shraddha becomes, more and more firm. So with this chapter, the second section of the first chapter comes to a conclusion. Third section of the first chapter. Half the Upanishad is done. Of the two chapters, chapter 1 is done. There are two chapters in Kathopanishad. Each chapter has 3 sections. So we have completed all the 3 sections of the first chapter.
Swamiji, next verse. Turn the page.
Turn the page? Still? Oh. Still? Oh. Next page. Oh. All right. I guess I have you to wake up. It says, this time. Arise, awake. In a way, we already included that discussion in our class here. But formally, I guess we'll take up in the next session.
Come for 10 days.
Yeah. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Vadarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururāpneti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavad-vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri